Shane van Gisbergen started the race at Richmond Raceway outside the top 30. He finished 14th. He lost a position in the championship standings and fell onto the cutline at 16th. And his cushion over the first driver on the outside of the postseason got bigger. Every part of that is true at the same time. Understanding how all four of those things happened on the same night explains exactly what the 2026 season has done to the way this driver races and why the man who was hired to win road course races is now spending his Saturday nights counting points on a 3/4-mile oval in Virginia. To understand why that night mattered, you have to go back to who Shane van Gisbergen was supposed to be when he arrived in the NASCAR Cup Series. He came from Australia as a 3-time champion of the Supercars Series. He won his very first NASCAR Cup Series start on the streets of Chicago in 2023, a result that had not been achieved by a debut driver in more than 60 years. From that moment, his role was defined. He was a road course specialist. He was brought to the United States to win on the twisting circuits that most stock car drivers see only a handful of times a year and to convert those wins into a postseason berth. That was the arrangement and both sides understood it. The numbers behind that arrangement were extreme. From 2023 through 2025, Shane van Gisbergen made 12 road course starts and 38 starts everywhere else. On the road courses, he won 6 races with an average finish of 7.6, an adjusted points plus index of 279, and a driver rating of 121.9. Everywhere else, his average finish was 25.0. His adjusted points plus index was 48, and his driver rating was 50.0. To put that in plain terms, his finishing quality on road courses was 179% better than the NASCAR Cup Series average. And on everything else, it was 52% worse. Among modern-era drivers, meaning those who debuted since 1972, nobody had a larger gap between road courses and all other track types through their first 12 career road races. Then the rules changed underneath him. On the 12th of January, 2026, NASCAR announced that the elimination-style postseason was finished. After more than a decade with an elimination-style playoff system, NASCAR's championship format has busted the bracket and cut to the chase. The new system takes the top 16 drivers in the NASCAR Cup Series standings after the 26-race regular season and sends them into a 10-race postseason. There are no eliminations inside that postseason. There is no winner-take-all final race. The driver with the most points at the end of the season will be the series champion. The single most important change for Shane van Gisbergen was the removal of the automatic berth. The win-you're-in rule that provided regular season winners with automatic playoff berths is no more. NASCAR's own explainer stated it without qualification. No win-in is no longer a means to advance to the postseason. Qualification is now based strictly on the point standings. The rest of the structure was adjusted to keep winning valuable without making it a shortcut. Race winners now collect 55 points, a 15-point increase over the previous point system. Second place still pays 35 points. Third pays 34 and stage points remain unchanged at 10 for first, 9 for second, and 8 for third. Bankable playoff points were removed entirely. Points will be reset for each series chase field with a 25-point premium awarded to the regular season champion. The top seed begins the postseason with 2,100 points, the second seed with 275, the third with 265, and every seed after that drops by 5 down to 2,000 for the 16th seed. The new format is designed to bolster the importance of each race and reward consistency while maintaining the importance of winning. For most of the field, this was a philosophical change. For the number 97 Trackhouse Racing Chevrolet, it was a direct threat to the business plan. Shane van Gisbergen described his own situation without any attempt to soften it. I guess initially I was brought over here for that win and you're in to guarantee a spot in the playoffs. So yeah, I certainly knew I had to get better at ovals and I think we've done that. There is a detail here that most coverage has skipped. Back in 2024 when he was running the full second-tier schedule and had just qualified for that series postseason, Shane van Gisbergen was asked about the format and called it the most overcomplicated racing series he had ever been a part of. He said he had spent the previous night studying it to work out how it functioned. NASCAR then simplified the system and the simplified version removed the exact mechanism that had been protecting him. The response began before the announcement did. Through the spring of 2026, the results on oval started moving. The primary challenge for Van Gisbergen, as he said earlier this month at Dover Motor Speedway, is getting up to speed quickly off the hauler. At Charlotte Motor Speedway in the 600-mile race, he had an average running position of 7.81 in 81 and ranked 7th on sheer speed among the 39-car field, but a slow pit stop left him 11th at the finish. His teammate Ross Chastain, a 5-time oval winner, described the change in blunt terms. "He's a racer and puts the tire to the limit, and he's finding that limit." The results followed at Nashville Superspeedway in late May. He finished 5th and led 12 laps, which stood as his career best on an oval. At Echo Park Speedway in July, he finished 6th on a drafting track. Then came North Willsboro Speedway on the 20th of July. Van Gisbergen started 8th in the 37-car field, but vaulted to 4th place when crew chief Stephen Doran opted for a 2-tire stop in the first cycle through pit road. On lap 52, he passed Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, and then championship points leader Denny Hamlin to take the lead and delivered the line that spread across the sport within minutes. "I'm leading. What the expletive do I do now?" He led 4 separate times for 49 laps that night, second only to race winner Joey Logano, and finished 5th for a career best on a short track. The measurable version of that improvement is stark. Through the middle of the 2026 season, Shane Van Gisbergen had 7 finishes of 11th or better on non-road courses in 17 starts with an average finish of 19.3, an adjusted points plus index of 97 against a series average of 100, and a driver rating of 67.4 against a series average of 70. In essence, Van Gisbergen has gone from being a significantly below-average driver across all ovals to basically a dead-average one in less than the span of a season. The improvement is not uniform. On short tracks and drafting tracks, he is now comfortably above the series average. On the intermediate tracks, the mile-and-a-half circuits that make up the largest share of the schedule, he remains below it with an average finish of 21.66, an adjusted points plus index of 77, and a driver rating of 58.2. That improvement is also close to unprecedented. In all of NASCAR history, it's incredibly rare to see a good road racer whose struggles on ovals suddenly become decent on them over any extended span of races. Looking only at drivers whose careers began after 1972 and setting the bar at real roadcourse ability combined with a genuinely poor record everywhere else. Only 2 drivers had ever turned that record around across a following 20-race stretch on non-road courses. Jerry Nadeau did it in 2000 and 2001. Robbie Gordon did it in 2001 and 2002. Shane Van Gisbergen across 2025 and 28 and 26 is the third name on that list. By the driver rating measure, the comparison names are Michael McDowell, Robbie Gordon, and Shane Van Gisbergen. That is the entire historical group. He has his own explanation for why the short tracks came first. He believes the tracks where a driver can manipulate the car reward the skills he already had through brake bias, gear selection, and line variation. On the larger ovals, he says the driver is left with whatever the car gives him, and he has openly admitted that he does not yet know how to describe what he wants from the car to his engineer at those places. When asked which races he would choose outside the NASCAR Cup Series if he could, he did not name the circuits he dominates. He named Bristol Motor Speedway and Iowa Speedway and said he needed to work on his weaknesses, which brings the story to the media center at Richmond Raceway on the 14th of August, 2026 and to a 2-part answer that contradicts itself. Asked how the new format had changed his driving style, Shane Van Gisbergen first defended his approach. "I don't think my mindset has changed every race." Then in the same answer, he conceded the opposite. "I think maybe these couple of races on points racing a little bit, but the rest of the year you're just driving flat out." He finished with his own justification for why he resists the idea. "I think that when you're not driving naturally, you find yourself in trouble." The pressure behind that admission was specific and measurable. Without the protection of the win-and-urine format of old, Van Gisbergen is well aware that he needs to finish the regular season strongly. He arrived at Richmond Raceway 47 points above the cut line with 3 races remaining after a poor result at Iowa Speedway the previous weekend, a track he has never been able to explain his struggles at going back to his second-tier seasons. His assessment of his own position was direct. "We can't afford to have another bad race." He also confirmed that he is now actively watching individual competitors, saying he has his eyes on the 3 or 4 drivers around him in the standings. Former driver Kyle Penny offered a related point on the 1st of July, arguing that if Shane van Gisbergen misses the postseason, his oval racing will not be the reason. The Richmond Raceway weekend then produced a result that had never happened in his career. For the first time in any of the 3 national divisions, Shane van Gisbergen has secured a pole for a points-paying NASCAR race at an oval track. He was second to last onto the track in qualifying for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race, driving the number 7 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet, and posted a lap of 23.168 seconds, 0.014 seconds clear of Caden Hunyett. It was the 13th pole of his NASCAR career and only his 5th start in that series. He joins Daniel Suarez and Marcos Ambrose as the only foreign-born drivers to earn a pole position in each of NASCAR's top 3 national divisions. The race was postponed from Friday night by weather and run on Saturday, and he finished 4th after recovering from a mid-race pit road penalty. Then came the NASCAR Cup Series race and the 4 contradictory facts from the beginning of the story. He started outside the top 30. Austin Cindric produced his best run of the 2026 season and moved ahead of him in the standings, pushing Shane van Gisbergen down to 16th, the final position inside the cutline. It was all thanks to strategy roll of the dice from crew chief Stephen Doran. At the start of the final stage, the number 97 stayed out on much older tires and took the wave around, moving inside the top 15s off sequence. The caution he needed did not come immediately, but it arrived after the first round of green flag pit stops. At the moment he had cycled back inside the top 15. He maintained that track position for the rest of the night, finishing 14th and matching his Richmond finish from 1 year ago. Ryan Preece, the driver in 17th, finished 17th. Neither driver scored stage points because scoring in this format awards 1 point per position. Shane van Gisbergen outscored him by 3 and pushed his buffer from 47 points to 50. He also remains within reach of the drivers ahead, sitting 7 points behind Austin Cindric and 20 behind Bubba Wallace. His own explanation of the night pointed straight back to the truck race. "The line I used during the truck race seemed to work for us, especially when the tires wore out." He added one more observation about the conditions at the front. "Clean air as well seemed to work." 2 races remain before the postseason field is locked. New Hampshire Motor Speedway and Daytona International Speedway. The postseason then opens at Darlington Raceway on Labor Day weekend. Shane van Gisbergen has described New Hampshire Motor Speedway as a flat oval with long straights and short corners, and said the way a driver approaches those corners resembles road course technique, which is the same theory that produced his short track results. Daytona International Speedway is the variable. He has said the combination of the new format, no practice, and a close points battle will force drivers to choose between chasing stage points and protecting their cars, and that he does not know how it will play out. For Ryan Preece, a 50-point recovery across 2 races is possible at a drafting track and effectively nowhere else. There are 2 measurable outcomes from here. In the first, Shane van Gisbergen enters the postseason with road course wins available inside the 10-race stretch. An oval performance that is no longer a liability, which would make him the only driver in the field capable of winning from any starting position on the twisting circuits. In the second, the points management continues. The aggression that produced 6 road course wins in 12 starts is reduced, and he finishes the regular season without the consistency to hold 16th or the speed to take a win at Daytona International Speedway. NASCAR's greatest road course specialist is becoming a more complete racer, and now everyone else has to worry about what his improvement has done to them instead. So the question that decides the next 3 weekends is not whether Shane van Gisbergen can drive an oval. It is whether the driver who says he has never really points raced can keep doing the thing he says he is not doing for 2 more races.